in Canada because...
A boot! Not a boot.
Sorry.
Hey, welcome back to Trail Trust Garage with Jeff. We're on the DRZ again today. Just a couple updates. So, by the time you guys see this, probably a couple weeks ago, we posted up the first video for this would have been released, obviously, because you're watching like part 2 or 3. But we did a kind of a recap video, I guess, for the situation with the Stator on this bike over on the ADV channel, and we had a pretty good response there. We had a viewer reach out and offer a pickup coil, which is what we're having problems with. An OEM pickup coil off of a Stator that went bad. The Stator windings were bad, but the pickup coil seems to test good. So I've got assurances from RM Stator that they'll take the Stator back if it doesn't fix my problem. Man, so part of me just doesn't want to do it. Part of me doesn't want to put this in because it's already tested. It ohms out. The spec on the pulsar / pickup coil ohms out had 197 or 198 ohms. Right around that magical 200 ohm mark, and they say that theirs should ohm at 345, right? 345, and of course the OEM specs at 390 to 600. My Stator test, or my pickup coil tests it, I don't know, it was like 480 or something like that. And the one that the viewer has, I think, is up there along with my OEM one. So I'll just give you a real. I don't know what can't remember what exactly filmed on this yet. So I'm going to give you guys a little recap of what we've done. So we had broken blinkers. Tim had an extra blinker, so we fixed that. We fixed the one over here. We got to tie this wiring up, but I just went through and tested all the wiring. So that's just going to get tucked up in there neatly and wrapped up. But all of our blinkers are working now. Last episode, I believe we talked about fixing this. So that's nice and solid. And we got some muffler joint compound and all that good stuff in here. So the exhaust system's all back together properly. The brake line, so it's stainless. And again, like, we had to loop it weird in here just because it was a little longer than we wanted. But it's all there and working. And we got the blue silicone hoses, which are actually kind of sharp. I'm not one for, bling, but those look kind of good over the stock ones. So I don't know. Maybe I could do that in the future on mine too. I don't know if of course I'm not going to go blue, but anyway, those hoses look pretty good. So what else do we got here? So I think today we've got the overflow tank that needs to go on, and I think what I'll do is I'll drop the oil. We're going to do an oil change anyway, so I might as well drop the oil and just kind of pull that side cover off and just see what we're looking at in that Stator, underneath that Stator. So, I mean, I don't think Tim did anything. He was pretty careful, and he's mechanically inclined. So I don't anticipate finding something weird, but. Because those other Stators that don't test, they're ohming the same as this one, right? And they're not even meeting the specifications that the RM Stator has said that their own stuff is supposed to spec at. So I won't recap all that stuff because honestly, it's just, I don't know. So we'll have a look, and maybe in the end I won't even install the RM Stator. We will meet the viewer, pick up the OEM Stator or pickup coil, and graft that into the Stator that's in the bike now, and see if we get some spark that way. But yeah, so I'll set you up, and maybe fast forward some of this video, but we'll dump the oil and have a look at that Stator, and when I get it exposed there, I'll bring you guys back and show you what we find. All right, we got the oil draining now. This is the DRZ is an oil and frame. But there's usually a check valve that keeps the oil from the down tube sump or oil bag or container from getting back down into the engine oil. Now there's always some oil left in the bottom of the sump. even if it's even though it's a dry sump. Anyway, so I didn't drain that oil yet, and I don't know why. I just thought I would. I'm kind of curious to see how much oil we get out of here if the bottom of the sump's drained. So it's more of a curiosity thing, I guess. Now, in a lot of the videos on YouTube, guys they lean the bike over so they don't lose the oil, but we were doing an oil change anyway. So even though that oil looked really good, I don't have room in here to lean the bike over at the moment because, of course, the garage is full of stuff that I got to get done and out of my garage. But anyway, so I'm going to start with this, and that's a JIS bit, a broad JIS bit. I don't know what number that is. I wonder if they actually number them. Yeah, PH3. I don't know what that means, but anyway, these are pretty big screws, so yeah. So that cover comes off because there's a bolt underneath here. Should invest in some plastic wedges. So they usually provide tabs to get the stuff off, but again, I just really don't like using steel anything on aluminum stuff. So I try to be really gentle, just so you don't, I mean, this one won't matter too much because the O-ring's on the inside, but you know, you don't want to score up any mating surfaces, so just be careful when you're using like some sort of hard plastic. Gee, I got a 3D printer, maybe I could print something. Anyway, whatever. So there's your oil filter cover, or sorry, oil filter's on the other side. There's your starter motor mesh gear. Now I do believe that's got to come off.
Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
I think I thought it was Jeff. That's Jeff out in the shop.
I am. Say hi to Al. So, Al's my father-in-law, and you would have seen him on the Van in a couple of the Trail Trash ADV videos. So he's hanging out with me this weekend, so you might see him poking in on one of these videos or not. So
I'm on it too.
no, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have one the bagel, and I'll be back out in a few minutes.
Yeah, no, that's good. All right, so scratch that. We didn't need to do anything with the snap ring, so let's get this back so I can. Come on, you bugger. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up where we're working with internal gears. I'm gonna put down a sterile field, just because Tim's bike's dirty and it's dropping a lot of crud. Sorry, Tim, throwing you on the bus here, but it's the nature of the beast of these bikes, and like every time I hit something or touch something, more of this dirt comes down off of it. So I'm trying to protect, you know, we're having breakfast in here, but soon, so I didn't want to get my hands all totally disgusting while I'm out here. But I hate wearing gloves. I just hate it. It's like wearing a condom. Like, it just sucks. The protection might be good, but you can't feel a thing through it. Now there's another thrust washer in here. So we're gonna come, there's the outside one, there's the inside one. So let's put the inside one on one side. You guys can't see that because out of camera, but I'm just, so inside, outside. Now, there's that. And do I need to take this off? I don't know. Now, a good tip is to pick a piece of cardboard and just shove those through to keep them in line. So, and I mean that's good. And I actually do that sometimes, but we're just doing one cover, so I think we should be okay. So if we just put these, yeah, okay, you guys are going, so we're, can't do it, So we got bump, bump, bump. We missed one. So bump, bump. So I just kind of arrange them in a circle, and you'll figure out which ones are which. So I know this one goes inside. So that's not messed with anything, but it is sealed around that. So that's going to be dust and dirt hanging. You go over here, and you go back in. Put your bolts back, so you know where they go. We got a huge magnet. Bang, holding that on. All right, here we go. Yeah. Well, so something I see right off the bat I don't really like, and I'm gonna get a little poker. All right, so one thing I don't like right now is, see this? There's metal. Now that's a magnet, and we're getting chunks of something. Looks like there was little chunks of something on it. So I don't know whether that's just stuff that was floating around in the stator, like in the stator cover from when he had the boo-boo. Do I see any? Nothing seems out of place there. Nothing seems, I mean, we're kind of tight right there, but it doesn't seem like we're through any of the shielding. Yeah, how's that view? So yeah, so there seemed to be a little bit of swath in there. So let's clip this wire here, or this cable tie. And this one. So there's our neutral. I do believe our neutral setting switch. And that goes up to here. On a lot of coils, this needs to be gapped properly. And but it doesn't look like there's any adjustment, like I said before, like my research said before. So there's a little scoring on here, not much. So let's put this down now, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So if we rotate this around, you can see right here that we got our timing marks. So there's top dead center, and there should be an F for firing somewhere, except I don't see one. so yeah, maybe there isn't one on this. So top dead. Yeah, I don't see a firing mark anywhere. And you know, this is a problem, or not a problem, but you know, you guys hear me talking all the time, I'm not a mechanic or whatever. So, you know, I took some mechanic courses when I was younger, you know, mostly on 2-strokes. You know, I've torn down a few 4-stroke engines and put them back together. I've rebuilt 2-stroke engines, you know, years ago. I don't do a lot of it because I'm only doing it to my bikes over the years. I've never really done it to other people's bikes. So just recently have I really started kind of helping other people out with my stuff, because I just never considered myself an expert, right? And this is the thing, because typically you would find a firing mark there. And it's just like if you're in the car world, you'll get guys who are Chevy guys, and they go work on a Ford, and like, you know the basics, but you don't know every ins and out of a Ford engine or a Mopar engine. And you just can't be experts on everything. And, you know, which is why, you know, Honda technicians or Suzuki technicians, they send you on courses to get familiar with particular models, because it's just, they all have their own little quirks, you know. So for example, okay, so this is a top dead center right there, but I don't see a firing mark. So and maybe the firing mark's not there because there's really no way to advance or retard the ignition on this. It's all controlled by the ECU. There's nothing really you can do about it. So there's no point in having a firing mark on there. But anyway, without putting this back on, I can see that there's a little tiny glint right there. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this on the corners right there. Now, I don't know if that means that there's, you know, if it was touching, but when I talked about the pickup coil and the gap between the pickup coil, or the pulsar coil or the crank position sensor. This is what tells that sensor or that coil where the flywheel is, right? So the flywheel is all magnetic, but these are different. These are the ones that these aren't magnetic, they're just steel, but they come within a close proximity to the crank position sensor or the pulsar coil or pickup coil, whatever you're calling it. And there has to be a certain gap or it won't activate that coil. And a lot of lawnmowers and stuff like that, you've got to have the gap set properly, and you put a feeler gauge in. There's no way to do that with this cover though, because there's no way to put a feeler gauge in that and really see. So, Newman. Yeah. So, I don't know if that gap is set properly. I'm going to assume it is, right? The other thing you can see, and this must have been for the other stator failed, is you can see, you know, I'll get some better light. What is it? We'll put that drain bolt back in. Okay. I don't need to torque that on like Hercules. So, so you can see she's kind of chewed up in there. Right along. Let me put this in here. There we go. Magnets. Wait, you get out of the way. Magnets. Oh, they're not that strong. That's aluminum. Where's steel? Where's some steel? Frame? There we go. That works. I'd like to get it over there farther though. You got a shadow. Anyway, doesn't matter. You can kind of see where it's all chewed up here, where the old stator hit. So, and then if we look up here, that's what you can kind of see where I like right there. It's kind of chewed a little bit, and there was a little bit of that swath, I guess, or what you call it. You know, on that magnet over there. There's the neutral sensor, and hopefully there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, that tested the manual outlines. If that's correct, and I assume it is, then we've tested that already, and it tested correct. So, well, now we got to make a decision whether they're actually going to swap the stator out with that RM stator, and I suppose we might as well if they're going to take it back if it doesn't work. But I really was hoping I was going to find like some sort of definitive answer as to what's going on. We'll go over the bench and we'll take that stator out and just inspect the wiring and make sure everything looks okay in it before we go and do anything else with the new stator. Okay, I'll set you up over there. Hold on. So, I need to take some time and clean this place up. But that's time I'm taking away from projects that gotta get done. So, got a little chip there in casing. Yeah, so let's take this out and have a look. So that looks like it's going to be a 4. And there's Loctite on here, I'm assuming. And if you've watched my channel or watched me do anything on the ADV side of it, excuse me, I'm just not a fan of red Loctite. Like, blue, I'm a fan of, especially with the old XT500. Like, it would just rattle everything. So everything got blue Loctite and or lock washers. Let's do one of those fancy time snaps ones with to get all the screws in. Yeah, red Loctite. So, oh no, we got one more over here. I don't really see anything in here. Brake cleaner, I love you. All right, well, okay, so do you guys, does it look like there's some scoring right there? Like I don't know if you guys can even tell that, but it looks like there's been some stuff chunking into that. Like I don't see any, like nothing's hitting here, so that's all good. Nothing scraping on that. I don't see any issues with the wiring so far. That connector's kind of beat up, but I got a new connector for that. And I think that was beat up just because Tim was trying to get this out to get the test leads in, and he broke it. So, yeah. I mean, the easier thing is to stick some connectors in there so that you can test on the outside. But all these need to be clean off, FYI, just in case I forget to mention later. If you obviously going to reuse these bolts, but when you do, you got to get all the Loctite out of them. You're not going to get it out of the threads in there without like a chaser, and I'm not running a tap in there. And like they do make special chaser taps that don't cut; they just kind of clean. But a lot of people, they're not very common, so a lot of people run a tap through. And if you're running it through a steel hole, you know it's not as bad, I guess. But like, don't run a tap through aluminum threads because you do take a little bit of material out. You will take a little bit of material out of there, and it's just, you know, it weakens the threads. And I think this isn't even aluminum. I think these might be magnesium. So, which is pretty soft stuff. Light, very light, but soft stuff. So, be gentle with your threads, right? I didn't really expect to find crud on that sensor. So, as you see, it's magnetic, and these are not. So in this case, the magnet's on the inside of that flywheel. It goes around these windings, creates that magnetic field, and the copper wire and magic pixies happen, and yeah, electricity's created. Alternative current electricity, and then that has to travel up these wires to the rectifier regulator, which rectifies it over to DC and then regulates just the right amount to go to your battery so you don't overcharge your battery. Yeah, okay, so I'll bring you back. I'm going to go look at the bike and see if I can see anything with that flywheel that's obvious before we go stuffing this thing in, and I'll bring you back. Here's the new arm stator. You can kind of see, it probably shows up in camera. It's not a completely smooth finish, I guess. There's some scoring there. I mean, I don't know if it's scoring, but I don't know what you would call it. But it really doesn't look any different. Yeah, I mean, it just really doesn't look any different. So, I mean, like there was some crap that was stuck to that, but so I don't know. Breakfast is done. I guess we're gonna push on with this stator thing. So I asked you guys if I should put the stator in, and you're useless. You didn't tell me nothing. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll try this arm stator. We'll put it in and see. Like I said, it doesn't seem to be any different. Yo. All right. So here we are. Let's get this on. In anything. No wires to pinch. No, we're good. Okay. All right. So let's put that in there. Light pressure. You don't have to torque those on. They're only 8mm, right? I mean, they're on 8mm bolts. They're probably M6s with an 8mm head on it, but like, you don't need to reef that stuff on there. All right, so just buttoning this back up, I just wanted to make a note. So when I'm working with these little M6s, I like to use the 1/4" drive. So I snugged them up with the impact just to kind of run them in. But to keep from over torquing them, choke up and just use your 1/4-inch drive, and that way, or use a torque wrench like you're supposed to do. Now, there's a lot of light in here, guys. And there's a lot of noise going on. We're doing some other things here. I'll give you a hand just a second, Jake.
These are mine, right?
Yep, those tires are yours. All right, let's see if you guys can see this. Looks like spark to me. There we go. We're fixed. So, bad stator. All right. Thanks, Al, for the cameraman work. All right. Well, that escalated quickly. So, we got spark, but we still have a non-running bike because it doesn't look like we're getting any fuel to it. So, we pulled the carb. And we're going to have a look at that. So that jet is okay. Alright. That was a sucker right there. She was clogged. Let's put you back in. Before I do that, I'll blow that passage. Alright, well, let's see if this works. Okay, so let's make sure the float works. Matter. So you can blow that way. Can't blow that way. So fuel shutoff's working. All right, so we're gonna go stick this back on the bike, and then we'll bring you back and see if we can fire this son of a beep up. You know we're in Canada because a boot.
Not a boot. Sorry.